Ladies and gentlemen, cheers and welcome back to the Heath Bar. I have got another fantastic chat on tap waiting for your ears. Before we get into it, I just want to remind you all that this show is all done by me, your host, Heath Johnson. Super glad that I'm able to do this for you and bring you some fantastic stories of some awesome people that are around this area and come through this area. It's easy to miss a lot of the just greatness about people in our day-to-day lives. So it's nice to sit down every now and then and get to know people a little bit more. I truly consider it an honor, and I love bringing these to you, as I have already mentioned. Subscribing to the podcast on iTunes and leaving a review does help other people get to know a lot of the cool stories and a lot of the people and the guests on this show. So if you got some time, go ahead, leave a review, leave a star or 5 stars, depending on what you think it's worth, and get the word out and let people know that the Heath Bar is where it's at. You can also keep up with what I'm doing socially on Instagram. At Heath Bar Online is the handle. It's the same on Facebook, although I spend more time on Instagram than Facebook regarding the podcast. Everything does kind of automatically post to it and everything, but Instagram is where it's at for me anyway with this show. Personally, if you want to talk with me, I am on Twitter as well, at Heath Johnson, which is my name, which makes it easy to remember. So Twitter at Heath Johnson, Instagram and Facebook at Heath Bar Online. You can also keep up with what I'm doing as far as writing little blogs about the episodes and my own personal blog and books I'm reading and shows where I'll be playing at and performing on my own music career. And that's all on my website at www.heathbaronline.com, which also happens to be the handle for my email, heath@heathbaronline.com. Best ways to get a hold of me. Now you know. My guest today is a dear friend of mine, Wayne Baye. We first met several years back over a mutual love for the music and talent of John Prine, which I could talk about all day long. And I was really glad that he was able to be on the show and talk a little bit about his story, what got him into music, and kind of what he does just personally with his collection of guitars and equipment and what brought him into that and the type of people that he plays with. He has probably the best garage parties that I've ever been to. He's got a full stage built into this shed. And anytime a bunch of us get there and play and jam, it is just a riot. We have an absolute blast. And I'm always sad when I have to miss it. Sometimes they are scheduled on nights I am gone or already have a gig, so I have to say no, and that bums me out a lot. But like I said, I'm really glad I've gotten the chance to know this guy, and I'm really glad that I get to bring this conversation to you for you all to hear. So without further ado, everyone here at the Heath Bar, here's Wayne Baye. Welcome to the Heath Bar, where the conversations are always on tap. Well, cheers, Wayne. I'm glad we actually got to do this. Every time we talked about it a few months back,
yeah,
didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you were gone and had to go out for work or something like that.
Yeah.
And what do you do again for work?
I drill oil wells.
You're doing the oil wells. That's right. You sent me the video. That's right. Of one of the ones you built.
In fact, I oversee the operation of like 3 drilling rigs.
Okay. So. Okay. You're not the guy in the ground digging anymore?
No. I have a house set up in town. I can watch everything remotely.
Okay. That's cool.
With all the modern technology, I can see just about everything that's going on out there. No
kidding.
So Big Brother's watching you. So yeah, it's pretty incredible the technology that goes along with that.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've only ever driven by them. I've never actually been on a site and seen.
In fact,
how it all goes and everything. But
are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I was going to show you some things, but being we're recording, I'm not going to go through that stuff. But yeah, I can pull up each operation I have.
Oh, cool.
On my phone.
No
So
kidding.
wherever I'm at,
Just look at it.
Look at it. Yeah, they're doing great.
I want to see where it's at and what birds are sitting where and go
everything's
from there.
cool.
That's neat. It's just cameras to set up, I would guess. Everything.
No, actually, it's a monitor that it's NOV has the technology, but it's called a EDR. But it's a drill and recorder, but it records all your information like pump pressure, weight on bit, hook loads, rotary RPMs, gallons per minute you're pumping, how much you're getting back.
Holy cow.
What direction you're going, high, low, to the right, or whatever to your target line. So, and we're drilling, most of the companies now are like North Dakota, Montana, a lot of the areas have went to 2 mile laterals, which are 2 sections. So they're about 10,000 foot laterals.
Okay.
We're doing 1 mile sections, so we're drilling sideways basically.
Wow.
For 5,000 feet.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's beyond me. I once dug a garden. That's about as far as I get.
Well, when I come home, I leave that stuff behind for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, and you have a lot of toys to play with when you get home too. Like, yeah, we're sitting in your guitar room right now, and it's pretty fantastic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, thank you. It's I've been blessed with a good job and that sort of thing, and the thing is that the guys, I feel you do make a lot of sacrifices leaving your home and family for a couple weeks at a time, and that's pretty much what the oil field has gone to, pretty much from top to bottom now is kind of 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off.
Gotcha.
Unless you're in maybe some of the sales positions or something like
that.
Sure. Most the laborers from top to bottom, what I do anyway, are pretty much working on a schedule like that. So you make a lot of sacrifices, and the money's good. There's a lot of peaks and valleys in the oil field, so get it while it's there, and save your pennies.
Yeah.
Don't spend them all on guitars.
Yeah. Don't do what Wayne's been doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a nice collection. So I mean, if you're gonna spend it on guitars, make sure they're guitars worth spending your money on.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a Gibson guy, right?
I guess Gibson would have to be. That's my number one guitar, and I guess I have a couple Gibsons on my want list. And that's. And I do appreciate the Martins. They tend to not fit me as well as the Gibsons do, and I think everybody feels that way. Something I think you feel with Gibsons in your hand, you're probably more at ease too. And I'm a short scale guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's such a minimal difference between a short scale and a long scale, but to me, I can tell right away. I'm sure you probably can too. It just I like short scales, and of course there is some tonal quality differences, but I guess I like that. I have to have that fit. The action has to be good and the fit. But Gibson does it for me. Hopefully with the new takeover and the new direction they're heading, hopefully we'll see some good guitars coming out of there.
Yeah, have you been paying attention to a lot of that happening with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it was the new CEO just last year, right? Didn't he swap, or am I thinking not CEO or? No, that's right.
I think they replaced a CEO there now, and they restructured.
Right.
I think they're going to have some price restructuring too. Hopefully they can make sure the quality is there and get pricing, maybe rein it in somewhat anyway. So
maybe that'll work out to some of us that play our benefit. Huh?
Yeah, I hope so.
Get them a little bit cheaper.
Watching Blackberry Smoke last night, they weren't hurting for Gibsons there.
No, they had quite a few.
Yeah, there was some beautiful guitars. Some beautiful guitars.
Well, that's the thing about a guitar. Like, you can have a good guitar, but there's something about having a good guitar and then a good player with it. It's a match made in heaven, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Charlie can shred on that thing.
Well, good equipment. Even when we were just playing a few minutes ago, I mean, you were doing a pretty simple chord progression. Not. I'm just telling it like it is.
Yeah,
we're just noodling around. But with with the way you were playing with the nice touch and some soft picking, it was pretty incredible. I guess I'm hooked on acoustic sound. I just love that.
Yeah.
And, it's something about a good acoustic player. Seems like it can, like the guitar is like an air pump. It seems like to me, it's
like lifeblood.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about acoustic versus like electric for you, as far as your why it's your preference?
That I think the acoustic guitar is so cool. I think the piano, to me, the piano and an acoustic guitar, you can take that acoustic guitar if you know how to play, and you could grab that guitar. You wouldn't, if you had a good guitar, you can go entertain, and you can do the same thing with a piano, but you can't carry that around with you. But the acoustic guitar is something you can carry around and just play beautiful music with just one person and a guitar. And I just don't think there isn't another instrument. I don't think that you can really do that. That guitar just adapts to different, any environment you throw it in. It's so cool. And I guess when you, I'm not into effects either. I kind of like the way we were playing with that little tube amp.
And,
I like a clean tube, and I like clean acoustic, but that's personal.
Sure. I fell in love with acoustics, just the sound of the acoustic guitar years ago. And maybe it's just because it was easier for me to play versus trying to figure out a bunch of electric stuff. Because then you have to, you run into, like, what pedals do you need? What do you need for that? And, amps and everything like that. Versus, like you were saying, the acoustic guitar, you can just pick it up and you can just start playing it, I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
But
And effects are just crazy. It seems like the guys that are into that are almost like, I guess I like clean acoustic sound, and that's what I'm looking for, and I keep chasing that tone. And that's kind of what the electric guys are doing. It seems like they never quit buying pedals. And
no, they never did.
and they're looking, I don't know, tone is what we're all after, I guess, and try to have, I guess I like to play, I like to sound nice and clean, and but to each his own. I guess I'm really into the acoustic thing. And,
sure. Well, they never stop with the pedal boards either. Like, they're always playing with it, trying to figure it out and sort it out and everything. Like, there's an art form to that alone. Just lining up a pedal board, how you'd want it, versus everything else. But you've been playing a long time, right?
Yep.
And writing your own music and playing everything. When did you start?
Well, I come from a musical family. Like my great-grandfather come from Brownsville, Texas, with the first cattle drive that went to Wyoming.
The first one?
The first cattle drive,
kidding.
yeah. I believe it was in 1865. He was inducted into the North Dakota Hall of Fame like about 10 years ago in Medora, North Dakota, so I went up for that. But his name was Perfecto Fernandez, and somewhere along the line he changed his name to Baye. But he come over from Spain to Brownsville with a load of horses with his father and his sister. But that's how we got to Wyoming, and then we got to North Dakota. That's how my genes. That's where my genes come from.
Wow.
He played harmonica, guitar, several other stringed instruments and that sort of thing, and then he ended up having 3 sons, and they all played. One played fiddle, and the other 2 played guitar and harmonicas, and so my family was pretty musical. And then, of course, my dad played guitar, piano, keyboards, harmonica, that sort of thing too. And I kind of grew up at barn dances and ended up sleeping under the stage, waiting for time to go home and stuff like that. When it's time to go home, that sort of thing. But and then I learned from my dad just like 3 chords. And my family was all cowboys, and when I got old enough to make my own way, I went the way of a biker and give up. And I was kind of I was kind of a black sheep kind of in a way, because I didn't follow the cowboy tradition of the family, and got into the oil field and got doing this sort of thing, and didn't worry about playing or anything. Pretty soon I'm 40 years old, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of a loser and a letdown. I was looking at myself that my whole family can play and entertained and that sort of thing, and I decided one day that I was gonna play every day, and I wanted to be able to play songs and write my own stuff, and I locked myself in the bedroom for sometimes for a whole weekend.
This is when you were 40?
Pardon me?
This was after you turned 40? Wow.
And now what am I now, 64? So.
When I'm 64.
Yeah. And anyways, I kind of went overboard, committed myself, and really got into guitar, and then I never had any lessons to speak of or anything. Kind of did most of my stuff online and that sort of thing. That's why it's so, I feel like kind of a sellout with the technology we have today compared to like my dad. I remember one time we found there was a wrecked camper alongside the road, and all their content scattered all over. Mm-hmm. And there was some 45 records there, and one of them was Chuck Berry. And so my dad took that Chuck Berry 45 home, and he would listen to it, and then he would play it. And he'd listen, and then he'd play until he'd get it down. And same thing with the lyrics and that sort of thing, because they're, I mean, we can just reach out and get the lyrics,
just pull it
tabs,
off the guitar tabs,
Yeah. And, but I took what was there, and then I did, I was playing for probably playing for about 5 years, and I went to see a girl in Bismarck that gave lessons, and there was really nowhere, when I was living in Watford City, there's nowhere to get lessons or really for help, that sort of thing. So you were kind of on your own. So anyways, I went to this gal, and I played for her, and she said basically that I sucked. And
she just called you right out.
But she said you need to do some alternate thumb. So that's when I started doing the Travis picking thing.
Okay. Yeah.
She said, what do you plan on doing? Do you plan on playing by yourself, or what? Or what do you? I said, mostly I'm going to be playing by myself, but I want to get where I can play for people someday. And she said, you need to get your thumb going back.
Yeah.
Get that thumb going and doing the walk-ups and walk-downs. And so she wrote everything out on a page, and I took that home and took it really seriously, and I was off to the races once I started finger picking.
How long did it take you to get that Travis picking, that alternate thumb, like to where it just happens, muscle memory type thing?
What I did, I guess, for me, I took a D chord. I just did a D chord, and I just alternated a D chord, a D chord, a D chord, just back and forth to get the thumb down, and just did some things with the other. I pretty much play with. Well, I play with all my fingers when I finger pick, depending on the song. It takes, before you're comfortable, like chord changes and that stuff, it does take some time, unless you're Jason Guthmiller. When Jason Guthmiller, I think I was doing Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotton, anyway, Jason and I were, and I think we traded some sound hole licks with you too, and we were, a couple winters ago, I was doing some recording down in my garage, and we were doing that sort of thing, and Jason was really intrigued by the Travis picking thing, and holy cow, did he pick it up and does a fantastic job with it. He should do more acoustic than, but that's my opinion. Again, I love his electric playing too, but
he needs to get some more acoustic sets. He hasn't done. I don't remember when he's done one. It's been a while since I've seen him without the electric guitar in his hand.
Yeah, but. Yeah. So and when I suppose a couple years, I probably was real comfortable with letting go of a pick or just playing without a pick or whatever, and But now I play with a thumb pick or with, depending on the song. Some songs, when you're using a thumb pick, you have to do a lot of palm muting.
Sure. Yeah.
Because with a thumb pick, you can really get loud. The first time I went to a bluegrass kind of a seminar. Oh, well, it was actually, they had some instructional stuff there too, but there was a guy playing a Martin guitar there and had a thumb pick, and he was playing it and he wasn't doing any muting, and I could have swore he had an amp going because that thing was so loud.
Yeah.
And I was way back in the room, but it's just incredible what a thumb pick will do. But
Yeah.
the thumb picks really require a lot of expertise, I think, and that's something that really takes, I mean, you can get to a level where you're really comfortable without a thumb pick. But when you go to a thumb pick, it brings on another challenge, which is, it seems like that's what we all run into is plateau after plateau. It's,
And you got to shake it up a bit and
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
learn the entire game all over again.
Yeah.
Man. So at what point did you decide, well, I guess let's start here. What music did you grow up listening to? And then when you got playing guitar, like, what did you kind of follow as far as this? I'm going to learn to play these songs, and that's how I'm going to figure this thing out.
When I grew up, of course, with my dad, until I left home and whatever, it was all pretty much country stuff. But I was really into music, so I was buying albums and albums and albums and albums even while I worked all through high school. So I was buying music way back, and but I was pretty much into rock and roll, and when I started playing guitar, I found that I wasn't a rock and roll guitar player. I was going to have to. So I love Neil Young. I really like Bob Dylan. So I went after. I think Neil Young's a lot better guitar player than he gets credit for, and but there's a lot of his songs that you can play that you don't have to be an expert guitar player, but sound like you're just not a strummer.
Sure.
And that's why I guess kind of attracted me to some of the and John Prine, when I got my finger picking down. I always wanted a friend of mine that I lost to cancer a few years ago. Hello in There was one of his favorites. Two of my friends, and both of them are gone now. So that song's really special to me. Sometimes hard to get through, and that the John Prine stuff really got me going. I guess listening. The thing about the internet is there are tabs out there, but when you get to another level, it seems like you've got to listen. You've got to listen to the music to get the feel for what they're doing. So you can't. It's something that you can't really write into tabs.
Yeah, a lot of the tabs and the chords they'll get you the basic structure of the song. But if you want to play it like they're playing it, you have to listen to it a lot, and then you have to almost feel it a bit. I mean, every time you and I get together, I think we always talk about John Prine because he's one of my all-time favorites and yours too in that.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
Was through we were playing a John Prine song or something like that. So
yeah. I think probably, I played some Prine at Patty O'Neill's that one night when you were hosting.
Patty O'Neill's, that's right.
Yeah.
We had the Songwriters Festival there.
Yeah, and it was kind of a lapse into action, so I ended up playing quite a few songs that night, which was really great to play on such a nice sound system and stage. It was kind of an honor to be able to have Jason backing me up, and
that was a lot of fun.
It was great night. It was one of the highlights of my musical career anyway. But I've been really blessed to play with some really fantastic musicians, and I count my blessings every day when I think about the guys. I'd like to just make a collage of all of the people that I've played with. But the older you get, Heath, you start getting sentimental on that sort of stuff.
I believe it. I believe it. I just turned 35 this year, and I can feel the sentiment coming. And it's not that far away. It's not here yet. Yeah. But I know it's coming.
Music has brought me a lot of great friends, and but it's crazy how music is I used I lived in Gillette for like 8 years before I moved over here. We moved over here in 11 or so, and I used to go down to Haggerty's over there a lot. And I was a good friend with Chase that works over Chase Cassidy worked there, and he's a fantastic guitar player, just excellent. But he's about your age.
Okay.
Just really, really good lead guitar player, and doesn't sing, so it worked really well. But him and I would go to the open mic, and we'd play. A lot of times we'd play for like a half hour. Him and I.
Cool.
And it was really a lot of fun playing. But I'd go over there on the Saturdays usually because the boss was gone, and it was just him and another employee there most of the time. So then we'd end up playing a lot. But a lot of times there'd be younger people come in while we were just sitting there, like maybe I'm sitting there noodling around, and I'm an old man, and they may be 15 years old, and they always want to sit down, and they kind of seems like they have an attitude right away. How long you been playing, or this or that, and then pretty soon they're scooting closer to you and closer to you when they find out that you're not sounding too bad.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon you're playing together and feeding off each other a little bit. But
that's cool.
And the generation gaps are gone, and it's all about the music. So
music does that.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
I think of, I don't know, like when I tell people, a lot of the music they listen to, they're like, wow, it's old music. Well, yeah, but if it's good music, it's gonna survive generations and generations and generations, and you see it happen more and more. Like my daughters are 12 and 11, and they adore, John Prine, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, all those old Hank Williams. I mean, they love it. I think one of their favorite songs is written by Roger Miller. My uncle used to love me, but she died.
Yeah.
It's like they laugh every time. Like, this is great. And they're like, what? But music does that. It transcends, age and time and that, and it's people creating something together. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from, what your background is, or anything like that. And that's one of the few things in the world that can do that, I think.
It sure is.
I can't think of any other things that can do it off the top of my head right now, but I don't know. I'm sure there's something else, but not quite like music.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done shows, like you've played out and done some gigs and stuff like that and everything. And how long have you been doing that?
Oh, well, when I'd only played a few years, and Mike Endrud, which Mike, was down and plays steel guitar.
Great pedal player, man.
Mike, Kelly Hanna, and Gene Veter, they hadn't played Mike had, but Gene had played since he was in high school, but kind of let it go. So they started getting together at the American Legion Club in Watford City, and started doing like once a month or twice a month open mic thing, but it wasn't, nobody come and played but us.
Okay.
So they welcomed me to play with them, and they're all, Kelly was probably at the same level that I was. And Gene has always been a good performer, and Mike, but they took me in, so we would play there, not being paid, but we played for drinks, I guess. But the place was full, and we just had a blast, and so that's what kind of kicked me off and running. And I was on a roll for quite a few years playing at weddings and funerals, but I've really I've kind of let it be known I don't want to do funerals anymore. It's a tough thing, especially if you know the people, and
sure.
I know somebody has to do it. I want that to be behind me. I don't want to do anymore. Sure. I guess in a special case I probably would.
Yeah.
Because different situations change a person, but and the wedding thing. But I'm really strange. Like I played with Jason a few times out here and there, and I played with you, played with your equipment or Jason's equipment or whoever. But I'm kind of funny. I guess when I decide I'm going to retire, whether it's this year or next year or whatever, then I'm going to start playing out. And but I really like to have. I have a comfort zone I have to have with my own equipment and my own mic and that sort of
Sure.
thing. And I spend a lot of time with my equipment, and
Yeah.
I feel
It's dialed in, man.
yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
great.
So it seems like whenever Jason and I like our vocals, if I take over his mic, he's at a different level as
Sure.
far as how we set our things up, but it's all fun.
Well, everybody likes home.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're comfortable and playing. Like I was talking with another songwriter just a couple weeks ago about that. And when you set your stage up, like when you're getting up to play, he said one of the things that he does, he tries to make it feel as comfortable for him as possible. It's like where I'm laid back and just enjoying myself. Because I feel like the music's better, you know, because I'm not standing up and rigid and stressed
Absolutely.
out and that. I'm just hanging out playing, and he plays better, and I agree with that 100%. Like if you're not feeling it, it's hard to get that out to the crowd so that they all have a good time too, you know.
And I guess what has worked for me too, I guess if I am out, if I can interact a little bit before I start playing, so I can get an idea how the mic level is and that sort of thing, and before you just come in. Well, that's what I've ended up. Jason has asked me to come play with him up many times, I guess, here and there, and it's always hard to come up cold.
Yeah.
And you're not the first thing you let out, that first verse of a song, and you think, oh God, I need to get in it, or I need to get out of it.
I need to warm up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think that's where Jason does the SoCo. Takes a couple of those shots, and then he starts to play a little bit looser. And
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
kidding.
There you go.
Who knows?
Yep.
Everyone's got their method, I guess. But yeah. But that's one of the things I think that, and I've only known you, gosh, 3 years now, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
If we really thought about it, but like when you get up to play, like it's I don't know. I'm always just enamored, just sitting there. I mean, and there's something about I don't know. Maybe it's just older people playing guitar. I love watching that. I think that's part of why I love going to John Prine shows and watching him play and watching that, because you just feel like there's this other thing. There's something of value happening that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss. I don't know. It doesn't feel. It feels like it's something that's genuinely love doing, versus I'm just playing music or something like that. You know, and when you've been playing a long time too, I mean, it grows with you. You know, I would imagine. I guess I'll get there one day. I got time, but
Well, that's the thing about guitar. It's just there's so many different challenges and styles, and that's, I guess we were talking about, like I've gotten reluctant to play Neil Young songs because a lot of people want it to sound exactly like Neil, but I don't want to. Of course, I want to play Needle and the Damage Done in a nice acoustic way, and I do I think fairly well with that song. And but I don't play it exactly like Neil, but it sounds pretty cool. But I think you want to have your own style.
yeah,
And I don't finger pick like John Prine, but a couple of areas on a couple of songs, I like the way I do it better, but to my ear.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but it's just you. I guess I'm not locked into being just to try and just absolutely copy and duplicate something. I think you need to. I used to fight that, but I think everyone needs to have their own color a little. So
I found myself even for a while there, even when I would play songs, like my voice would change a bit to sound like the artist that I was copying, and it took a lot of practice to let my own voice come out in those songs, and not try, like when I sing a Willie Nelson song, not to get Willie's voice in there, and which is hard to do because that's all you're hearing in your head, but when you make it your own a little bit, you get to, I don't know, you get to present who you are to the crowd, to the people playing and everything. Then they get to know you a bit better too. Instead of, I mean, if they want to hear something that sounds just like the original artist, there's usually a jukebox somewhere you can go press play and hear the song.
Yeah.
But do you find that is that challenging for you to make a song your own? And
No, what I need to do if I'm going to do covers, I listen to that song over and over and over, and if I have a headset on, it's better. But I listen to that song until I'm actually, when I play it, I'm almost playing along with them. But the voice thing, I've never really. I've been told I got a unique voice. I hated my voice for a long time, but one of the gals that I guess, looked for critique from, she said, "You only got one voice, use it."
Yeah.
And I think there's people, my voice isn't the worst in the world and not the best, but I really work at trying to match songs that will match my range too. So that's something that's really, I think you almost have to make your whole catalog that way. There's songs that I absolutely love, but they're pretty much, for me, they're untouchable. I can't.
a little bit outside of the wheelhouse.
Yeah, yep, they are, and I think you have to have that stuff that's, like you say, in your wheelhouse. Otherwise, it's just you got to feel good when you're doing it, and not have to think about it. And that's where when it flows for me is when I don't have to think about the lyrics, and it's just coming. You know that you can, it's fitting your range and that sort of thing. But
well, and when when you're playing a song that's a little bit of a stretch with your voice or whatever the case may be, like, when it's like, I shouldn't have done that, and and I'm trying to think of a song when I started playing that I don't do anymore because of that, and I think oh man, I used to play a Michael Jackson song. I forget the name of it now. Billie Jean. That was the one. I used to play that all the time at most every shows, and then I just finally said, I cannot hit those notes. I'm stopping playing that song, and at least out in public. I play it at home all the time, but there's that kind of thing where it's like, if you put that song in front of me, or you put like a Prine song in front of me, I'm gonna sound better on the Prine song just because of the way I sing. I'm a little bit more relaxed when I sing, and I enjoy being relaxed when I sing and telling a story with a song versus getting really high notes and just kind of singing. So I like story songs, though. Always have.
I do too. I like ballads and story songs. And,
yeah.
Bob Dylan, I guess I never try and sing like him, and I guess if the purists hate it, they could tune me out or whatever.
Yeah.
But Dylan's got some really, I really enjoy playing some of his songs too, and that's I think the people that have done covers of his songs have done better than pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of Dylan songs that have been done so well. So it's not the end of the world to do a Dylan song. I know a lot of people think you just shouldn't be done, but
he's one of those. He'll always be. He's an artist that'll always be talked about, and everything like that. But so when did you start writing your own? When did that kind of fall into you?
I've been I've been writing songs for 20 years.
No kidding.
Yeah, but
wow.
I've got a lot of crappy songs.
Don't we all?
And just a couple.
Yeah.
Couple decent songs, and but I haven't. Kind of my career has been pretty intense, and last year with a heart attack and that sort of thing. Some health troubles along the way here and there that I haven't been able to dedicate myself, and I have to really be relaxed to be in songwriting mode. I have. It's weird. I wrote a song at a truck stop in Douglas, Wyoming, while I was waiting for two coworkers to meet me one morning, and within 10 minutes, it's one of the better songs I ever wrote, and it just come to me real.
I say that's when the best ones show up, is when it just hits you.
Yeah, and
in
it
10
just
minutes
all,
it's out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of come right along. But
So are a lot of your songs like experience based, like stuff you've been through and stuff you go through, or do you kind of think of a concept?
I'm a real downer.
Yeah.
I think just about everything I ever write or have written has got a minor in it. And my mom told me my music is a downer. She doesn't like my music. And
Your mom?
But yeah,
Oh no.
so but I've always yeah, I've always tried to live up to expectations. But my music, I guess I think she's grown. It's
Your music
grown on her a
makes her
little
sad.
bit. But anyway,
Huh.
I've written a song named "Unwelcome," and that's kind of that's about an old kind of a drunk that's kind of wore out his welcome at every bar around town and every place he's been. But and then the one I wrote at the truck stop, I guess that was "I Don't Want to Meet the Devil," and that one was pretty serious about my conscience bothering me. But
Yeah.
I don't. My conscience doesn't bother me, but it's just weird downer like thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go into these
Yeah.
songs, and I spent about a year. I really got into Townes Van Zandt really hard,
Oh yeah.
and I wanted to learn like the song "Nothing," and I play that pretty well. And "Waiting Around to Die," and got into all them downer songs of his.
Yeah.
And he does have some upbeat. I mean, more. They're not all just "Waiting Around to Die."
Right. Absolutely.
But it was almost like I was getting too much into character, and it was affecting my personal life by getting. I was so into that downer stuff. But
Yeah.
I kind of had to shake my head and get out of that. And
Yeah.
it's spread out because it's
Well, those are the songs too. Like when I love playing a lot of those songs just because they're, I don't know, I like them. But when you go out to
minor
a show,
chords. I mean,
Right.
A minor chord. What's better than that?
don't-
Maybe an E minor.
I don't know, man. Like the A minor is one of my all-time favorites. But I find myself like if I put a set together to go to a show and it's all these downer songs that I love, I'm like, well, this is not going to be fun for anyone out there. I better shake this up just a little bit.
Yep, exactly, and that's what Liz tells me too, and she's my biggest fan and supporter, and her sister Shelly that was here. I don't know if you met Shelly last night, but Liz's sister Shelly was down for the weekend.
I think
too.
I might have,
but
yeah.
she has been my biggest supporter since I've been playing, and but they'll Liz will take anything I play, and so will Shelly. But and they think I can walk on water. But I have to watch myself like that too. I try and mix that up too.
Yeah.
Because you can get in a rut there to where everything is kind of sounding the same too.
Yeah.
But
Keep the same keys and you keep the same, and it's just, yeah. But we like what we like. You know? I think that's the challenge about being someone that plays and someone that plays out in public is you've got to find that balance between songs that you enjoy and songs that others can enjoy you playing for them. And then the songs that you enjoy playing, you don't have to play them out. That doesn't mean you can't play it or don't know how to play it. It just means it doesn't really fit with what you're trying to do for the night.
Yeah.
But,
and that's what I always say. I guess that's what kind of holds me back from going out and gigging now and stuff is that my my set list doesn't fit every venue out there. Like as far as like a country bar with wanting dancing and
Right.
that sort of thing, and or the rock and roll thing. I'm more of a Guth Miller did a set at Santana's one night where he had his the same setup that you and have, the solo acoustic setup, and the sound in there was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he was set up so great that night, and the people that were there to listen, and it was fantastic. And that's the setting that I like to, I guess, and it's hard to find a setting where people really, well, the whole crowd comes, or you're never going to find everyone, but I mean,
Right.
where more of them come to listen than
Yeah.
to try and talk over you or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And we've all been there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's something to be said about finding the right venue with the right musicians. It's like matching it up.
Yeah.
And I've seen artists play in places. I'm like, I don't know if I would have put them here. I would have put them here and everything like that. And that's a tough. It can get tough, like telling someone, hey, this isn't a good fit. But here's the places that would be a good fit, because some people take that personally. And like, I know there's certain places that I'm not a good fit to play at, and I just don't ask to play there. I'm like, it's not really my thing.
Yeah.
But some people get hurt when you say things like that. Like, what do you mean? It's playing music. Well, yeah, you are, but it's not really what we're going for.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a fun game we all play, man.
Oh yeah.
But it'll always be that way. I don't see that ever changing. I think there's but I think it's the people that listen to that advice and find their venues that have success, because they're going to find their crowd, they're going to find their feel, and they're going to enjoy it so much more.
But I guess it's pretty incredible that you get someone like yourself, Guth Miller, Mike Andrews, some of the people that we've had here play at our couple, several of the get-togethers we've had here. We've had some fantastic musicians. Nobody's here for the money, the fame. They're because they enjoy playing with these other fellows and the camaraderie, the magic that can happen. Nothing's planned. It's all spontaneous. And, it just happens.
It's a blast.
Yeah,
dude.
It's pretty incredible.
You built that garage so perfectly. Like, it's a gorgeous. I'm gonna call it a stage. Like, it's definitely a stage. It's got backdrops. It's got everything. And did you build it for that, or is it just kind of
exactly?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool. Just for people to come play and jam and have a good time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wayne's Garage.
Yeah, and I just like to leave it. I like to leave my PA set up there, so if someone like Jason stopped in one time to look at some other things I had going on, and we just sat down and played, and it's just nice to have a place to just chill.
Yeah.
And
so what you need to do is get some live stream cameras, and just every time someone starts to play, just start your own YouTube show. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start doing some. I've been doing some finger picking stuff and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna start doing some recording and just some. I call it my sound hole sessions anyway. But I just put my video recorder. I've got one of them little Zoom recorders.
Oh yeah.
And it really does a nice job. But I just put it where my hand is so they can see what my right hand's doing anyway. But it's kind of cool. And then you can see some of the things that are going on, but the left hand has so much to do with it too. But it's hard to get both of them in. You got to have like multiple camera angles and then edit it all later. And that's a lot of work, man. I don't want to do that at all. Do you have any of your stuff like recorded and out there for people to hear right now, or is it like, have you done albums or anything like that? No, I have. Shoot, I don't know how many YouTubes I have.
Okay.
But God, they're all 10 years old, probably.
Still up there though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just search your name and we can find it.
Yeah, I think they're all under Wayne P.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, my middle name's Patrick. My mom called me Wayne Patrick, and then sometimes she called me Wayne P. I was always in trouble when it was either Wayne P. or Wayne Patrick, but I went by Wayne P. I guess as far as my music goes. So.
That's a good stage name.
Yeah.
It's easily marketable.
So
that's cool. So when you're gone for 2 weeks, how much of that do you do any writing while you're gone? Like, do you take a guitar with you, or is it
I have a guitar there. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you've got so when you're not working, you can just noodle and play and write.
Yeah.
And
I've got a little Guild F30, I believe it is. It looks just like that Martin there. Just really a sweetheart of a guitar. Jason put a what are those K&K?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
in it. So it's really different. It's really a different pickup, different than anything I've got. But yeah, that's a nice little setup. It's those are set up for. I know Jason was really sold on them for a while too, but they're a great pickup for strumming and doing some flat picking and that sort of. But as far as they just won't cut through the mix. Even like on my, I've got that little red eye boost on my for a DI, and it won't boost. But you talk about, I do a lot of percussive stuff when I'm tapping the guitar and doing different things, and that K&K just I mean, it's pretty incredible what the stuff it does.
That's cool.
But, I guess that's why we have a whole bunch of different guitars, because you can do different things and different pickups do different things, and
they each
that
talk
sort of
differently.
thing. But yeah, I do. That's one thing. Even when I was sitting on the rigs, as far as being a well site supervisor, where I was actually on location 24 hours a day, I always had my guitar there. But if I had my guitar was out where I was at in my office where I was working and stuff, everybody, if my guitar was out, they knew I was probably kind of chilled.
Yeah.
But if my guitar wasn't around, they'd say, "Oh, Wayne's probably wound up a little bit and maybe a little uptight. Maybe we just." They always said, "Well, we know Wayne's going to be cool if his guitar is out," because it seems like, for me anyway, I had it handy, because sometimes I'd get so uptight, and instead of going out to smoke a cigarette or do whatever for outlet, if I could play for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just a release for me.
And it's a much better habit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got people looking in the window of your office. Oh, his guitar's out. Okay, now's the day to ask for that raise.
Yeah. So it's as far as my job goes, it's just a huge stress reliever to have my guitar with me.
Yeah.
It's just a difference maker for me anyway.
Yeah.
So
That's
I can
cool.
just block everything out as soon as I grab it. So it's a pretty good release for sure.
That's cool. So, and you said in a couple of years maybe you'll retire and then start playing more around and everything like that. So we have that to look forward to.
There you go.
That's good. I'm looking forward to that. Get you in on some of the rounds that we do with the songwriters rounds in Deadwood, and we started some out at Harriet and Oak too, in Rapid City. So.
Yeah, I just visited that place a few days ago. Really a super nice place.
Oh, it's great
food.
Place. Yeah.
Everything was fresh. We were really impressed.
Yeah. They do a really good job there. I was really glad that they decided to partner with us on that, just because it's Rapid City, and there hasn't really been rounds in Rapid City since we've started doing them.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they were all in Spearfish and Deadwood, but now Rapid City's got it. It's a bigger market.
Yep.
Easier for people to get to. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll pick up very, very nicely.
Yeah. And, that's a cool place.
Yeah, we'll get you there in a couple of years, unless you want to do it earlier than that. Just let me know.
Yeah, my schedule has been so, to make plans all the time, and they've shifted schedules, and just when you get planned out, looks like I want to be off for the 4th of July or off for this or that songwriters deal. I've missed the last 2 years in Deadwood, and that just kills me.
Yeah,
the last year I was off
you there, man.
when I played up at Patty O'Neill's that night. I haven't been to it. That's the last time I've been there, so.
Yeah,
got to do something about it.
That's
got to
such a
do
fun
something
weekend,
about it.
too.
I gotta worry
You got to
about
tell
this
them,
job.
like, hey, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I have to be back for this. Heath said so.
Well, if I didn't have such a bad spending habit, I probably could have retired about 10 years ago.
It's all these guitars, man.
Yep.
That's what's
There you
happening.
go.
Like, a couple more years. I got to get a couple more guitars, and then I'll be happy. Plus, you got all those hats in the corner. That's one of the other things about you too. You've always got that. You always got a hat on, and they're all just killer cool hats, man. I have a hat problem. Mine are all like baseball caps and trucker caps, but Whitney's always goes, You have hats and shoes more than I do. And I like hats, you know, and I just bought another one Friday that will be here this coming week. But
I was at a bluegrass. I think I was at when I was in Gillette. I used to go to the bluegrass deal in Buffalo Witch there in Haven this year. But God, we had fun at that
Oh,
Bighorn
yeah,
Mountain
that's right.
Festival.
Yeah.
But we used to go to that every year. Liz and I'd go and camp and stay overnight and spend the whole weekend there. And we'd have a campfire and play around. We played all night long until your fingers bleed. And but we had such a good time over there. And but a guy told me, an old guy said, I didn't have a hat on, and he said, if you don't have a hat on and you're playing bluegrass, especially if you're up in front of a mic, you're probably going to go to hell.
it's a requirement, sir.
So I'm real reluctant to get in front of a mic anymore.
Yeah.
I've done enough things to be headed down that road anyway, but if I could steer the other way, I don't need to be going without a hat. If it takes wearing a hat,
Oh, that's funny.
I'll be wearing my hat.
That's all it takes to get you out of hell, man. Might as well throw it on.
Yep.
I feel like there's a bluegrass song in there about not wearing a hat and ending up in hell. Someone should write that if they
Yep.
haven't already. That would be super cool. I do know some bluegrass players that don't wear hats though, so you're not alone
Yeah.
in that journey to the underbellies of fire.
But yeah, there's some. I met a lot of cool guys playing around the campfires there and stuff too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always a good time.
Really, some great musicians that closet players and that sort of thing that don't want the fortune of fame or just playing for the love of music, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where the passion comes out at.
Yeah.
I think that's where the real music is found. When I love to do it, and I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
So, but this was fun, man. I could have talked with you all day and played with you all day and stuff and everything. So, but yeah, so Wayne P on YouTube if we want to find all your stuff, and you're gonna have to do an album at some point. You have some great mics here. Just record it.
Yeah.
And put it out. You got some more than enough stuff to do it with.
Yeah,
But
I need a bigger catalog of songs, I guess. I need more good ones. And the problem is right now I've got a half a dozen, and I'd really like to. I guess that's been my goal the last couple of years, is to try and get enough put together to put a nice one together.
Sure.
And I've got some songs that are 3/4 of the way there, and I'm just not happy. Every time I start on them, I'm not happy finishing. So I'm just kind of letting them lay a little bit, and I've done that a couple of other times, and they finish themselves out and turn out pretty good. So
yeah, let them simmer.
Yep.
They'll be ready when they're ready.
Exactly. Yep.
Cool, man. This was great. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Heath. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for Wayne Baye, ladies and gentlemen. God, I love that guy. That was a fun chat. If you want to get in touch with me, folks, shoot me an email, heath@heathbaronline.com. I'd love to hear from you and chat with you directly. Otherwise, we will see you next time at the Heath Bar.